Hello. So now let's talk about IP version number 4 or Internet Protocol version number 4 and Internet Protocol version number 6. IPv4 was finalized in RFC in 1980 but was later updated in RFC which was published in 1981. So you can say that it's pretty much around since the dawn of Internet. So why do we need IP addresses? What is the need for that? Well, if you can recall OSI model or TCP/IP communication conceptual model we have in case of OSI, where we had 7 layers starting from physical, then going to the top till the 7th layer, which was application. And in case of TCP/IP model, where we had 3 layers, right? So in case of OSI or TCP/IP model, IPv4 or IPv6, they work at network layer, or in case of TCP/IP model at the internet layer. And what it means is that our hosts or devices, whatever those devices are, they are assigned IPv4 logical addresses to their internet, to their Ethernet or other interfaces. They could be serial as well or WAN links. So it's like if we have got a host over here maybe, and it is connected with a switch, and this switch is connected with multiple gateways, or as in terms of networking we call them routers, and this in turn is connected with an end station. So all these interfaces, like this one over here, this one over here, and all these interfaces which are joining these end devices, device A and B, and including the interfaces that are placed on these devices, they will be given logical addresses belonging that will work at the layer 3 of the OSI model, and those addresses are called as IP addresses, whether it could be IPv4 or IPv6, but they will be IPv4 addresses. So from communication point of view, it's very much necessary that we have to assign IP addresses if we are working at TCP/IP communication model. Now, when we are to write an IP address, it is written as dotted decimal notation, where each number, we have 4 octets. So let me just draw these. Each octet can contain a decimal number ranging from 0 to 255. So same goes in all the 4 octets. So this one is 4. And in fact, 0 to 255, reason for that is that each octet, which is over here, likewise over here, here and here, each of these octet is represented by, or can be represented by 8 bits. So if I put down 8 bits in here, and if I turn all these bits on or into one position, then the maximum number that we can get is 255. Like if we start from, let's say, the significant, most significant, or maybe least significant, then if you can do the binary math, this will be 1, then 2, then 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128. And if we add them up, all these 8 bits, we get a number 255. So IP address like this, .0.0 or 255.255.255.255, they are all valid notations, and in between them, any number which fulfills this criteria that it should be ranging from 0 to 255, any IP address combination will be a valid IP address. And the number of combinations that we can get out of these 32 bits, if we write like 2 raised to power 32, because these are binary bits. So if I write down 2 raised to power 32, the number comes out to be around 4.2 billion. So 4.2 billion IP addresses, possible IP addresses we can get from IPv4. I'm not talking about IPv6 at the moment, I just concentrate on IPv4. So if you see, or you have assigned, or you assign your computer, your laptop, an IP address which looks like maybe 192.168.x.x, something like that, then now you know that it represents an IPv4 address. Now IPv4 address has got classes, and it has got 5 classes, A, B, C, D, E. A class IP addresses range from 0, or I should write the first octet. The first octet, you see 4 octets separated by dots. So the first octet it starts from 0 to 127. So all the IP addresses, doesn't matter what is in the second, third and fourth octet. It could be 0 or it could be 255. But the restriction is that first octet should have a range of from 0 to 127 and not beyond 127. But if an IP address starts from, let's say, 128 and goes up till 191, then that will be class B IP address. The third range is class C, which starts from 192 and goes up till 224. Then we have class D, which starts from, or this is not 224, my mistake, it is 223. Then the next class D starts from 224 and goes up till 239, and the class E starts from 240 and goes up till 255. Class D is used for multicasting. We do not use them mostly for our host based communication, and class E is for experimental purposes, and you will rarely see, or you will never see this IP address range assigned to the host or to the network. So if I write down an IP address which looks like 100.1. or maybe 10.27.35, then based on this number you will come to know that it's a class A address because it falls in this range. Similarly, if I write down like 223.0.0.223, then based on the first octet you know that it belongs to class C. And similarly, if any number in the first octet falls in this range, you should immediately come to know that it belongs to class B. Now besides these classes, they are our private IP address classes as well. Let me remove this slide. Now private IP address classes are, one is 10.x.x.x and other one is 172. This belongs to class A, right? So one private IP address class belongs to class A that we had seen. The other one starts from 172.16 and this second octet goes from 16 to 31.x.x. So this is another private IP address class and it resides in class B range. And the third one is 192.168.x.x, which resides in class C. So why do we need private IP address classes? Well, you see, if you have got, let's say, your home network, maybe your LAN network, then as per the provisioning of IPv4 draft, it provides us this facility that we do not need to have IP addresses assigned from INA, or Internet Assigned Numbering Authority, which is the universal body that is responsible for maintaining and management of IPv4 or IPv6 addresses. Of course, it has got regional bodies under it, which in fact have got control with other local ISPs, and local ISPs reach these local registries or local bodies that assign the IP addresses, and these are in turn assigned IP or allocated IP addresses from INA. So INA is the ultimate authority. Now, if you want to configure your LAN environment, you do not need to go to INA to ask for IP addresses. You can simply assign any IP address from any of these three private IP address classes. Now, once you assign a private IP address class to your maybe couple of computers in your LAN environment, then by virtue of internet practices, the communication that is originated from a private IP address, that communication as it is not allowed to go onto the internet. So let's say this is your gateway. This could be your DSL or optic fiber or maybe cable modem, and this is in turn connected with the internet. So this is the internet. So I was telling you that by virtue of the practices and the norms of the internet, the communication that is originated from a private IP, so this is private IPs, and over here these are the public IPs. Any IP addresses which are not falling in this range are called public IP addresses. So IP addresses, let's say these are public ones. The communication that is originated from here, Now you see that this gateway, it will forward the packets out onto the internet. So this gateway, it cannot send the packets out on the internet whose source addresses are the private addresses. The packet, if you can recall the TCP IP model, the packet has got a source IP address and a destination IP address, right? So destination IP address will be public IP address, maybe a Google server or Yahoo server, whatever server that this client over here is trying to explore. But the source IP will be private IP when the packet is generated from the host and reaches to the gateway. So what gateway does? Well, it changes the private IP from this class into a public IP by a function of NAT or network address translation. So now when the packet goes out, not only that its destination address, which is going to the internet, is public IP, but also the source IP address is also a public IP, and that source address is the responsibility of this gateway over here. How does it do that? Well, there are multiple techniques. There is static netting, there is dynamic netting, and there is interface overload. So basically what it means that whenever your packet is going out through the gateway changes its source address to a public IP address so that it can be routed or may be transferred onto the internet. Now once we talk about gateways, how does your computer or workstation over here, maybe your laptop or mobile device, how does it know that which traffic it needs to send to the gateway and which traffic it does not need to send to the gateway? Maybe if this is the host over here and this is over here, this one is B, how does A know that if he needs to send the traffic to B, it can do that directly and not send it to the gateway? How does it know that? Well, this is where there is a concept of net mask, and you must be aware of that if you configure IPv4 address setting in your Windows environment, or maybe in your Linux as well. If you are new to Linux, then I probably assume that you must have seen that in your Windows environment, where we have down below a monitor or computer, and you open it up and you assign the IP address along with the net mask and the gateway. So net mask, well, you see, if I write down an IP address, let's just write down, say, 12.12.13.13. This IP address belongs to class A. So when we assign this IP address to any host over here, then by virtue of the networking concepts, class A addresses have got a net mask of 8 bits, starting from the most significant bit. And let me just tell you what does it signify. So it means that the first 8 bits will be in the on position. I'm not talking about this network, this is the network address, but the net mask bits will be in, all bits will be in the on position. So this will be 255 for net mask, and all other bits will be in 0 position. Now once you assign this net mask along with this IP address to the interface card, now your workstation or your PC knows that based on this number, which is 255, what are the valid IP addresses that reside within the same segment and for which your PC or your workstation does not need to send the traffic out onto the gateway. And what do I mean by that? Let's say this is 255, right? And this is 12.13.13.0. So if an IP address which is like 12.14.255 or 234, or any IP address, let me just change the color, any IP address that is changed based on these numbers, your workstation will not send the traffic out to the gateway. And why is that? Because based on this number 12 and this 255, which is the net mask, your router knows, your workstation knows that for any IP address that is starting from 12, and it does not care about this number, that is starting from 12, it needs to keep the traffic onto the local segment. So it will not forward the packet onto the gateway. But if this number changes, let's say it is 7, 8 or any number except 12, then this workstation over here, it will come to know that this does not belong to this local segment and it needs to send the traffic out onto the gateway or your modem or your router. Now there is also another concept that how does it know that what is the network address and what is the host address. So the way to do that is, if we write down this number again, 12.12.13.13, and we write down these subnet mask in shape of, let's say, bits. So 255 means all ones and these are zeros, so let's just put the zeros. Now if you convert 12, you will get 0, then another 0, and then this bit will be 1, and then this bit will be 1. So 8 plus 4 will be 12, and rest 4 bits will be 0. Now if we do a logical AND operation between this number and this number, we will get 12, right? But what about the logical AND operation between these numbers? Because this had got 0, so we will get all zeros. So this way, your workstations over here, they will come to know that this is the network portion. So any IP address belonging to or starting from 12 belongs to the local network. But any IP address belonging to starting from 12 and this number changing, it is a host residing on the same LAN segment. But if this changes, let's say 11 or maybe 13 or any number, your workstation will come to know that this is not a local IP address and I need to send the traffic out onto the gateway. Now gateway responsibility, or as we call it, a router, its responsibility is to join multiple networks. At the moment it is joining this network onto this side and this network onto this side. It could be connected with other networks as well, and all these networks will have different network segments. 12 could be on one side, 13 on to the other side, 14 and 15 and 16. Now at the moment I was just talking about class A IP address. This could be class B or class C IP address as well. In case of class C, normally what you assign to your workstations is something like 192.168.1. maybe 10, and then you give the IP address of net mask of 255.255.255.0, right? Something like that. So it would mean that this is the network portion and this is the host portion. So any IP address in the fourth octet ranging from 1 to 255, we cannot assign 0 and we cannot assign 255 because 0 signifies the network address itself and 255 means all hosts for that network or the broadcast IP address. So besides that, any IP address like starting from 1 to 254, if that IP address, if your PC needs to send a traffic to that IP address, that will be called as a local traffic. But if there is any change in any of these numbers, since it's a class C address and this is the net mask, if there is any change in any of this number, the traffic will be sent onto the gateway, because then the workstation will come to know that this is not the local network. This is something that I need to send the traffic out onto the gateway.